Hello everyone. Well, with all the technical issues that we had last night with the Divine Masculine and Feminine Rising event, I decided that I would make a short video to give my perspective. It's a pleasure to be invited and to join such a revolutionary group and a higher level of consciousness within the collective. So thank you for inviting me, Destiny, to participate in this wonderful event. This journey of evolution of humanity is incredible, and myself being over 50 now, I can see things from a completely different perspective, having lived half of my life. And it is like a game of football. I've lived and participated in the first half, completed it, taken a little bit of a rest, gone within, and now I'm starting the second half of the game. And if we treat life like a game, it can be so much fun. It's only the seriousness of the third dimension, those pressures and outside influences, that really turn it into a battle and a contest and a competition between one another. And the only real way to achieve any form of success, if we want to call it success, is to create unity. And what we see in the society today is only about division, labeling, judging, competition. It's all a game. But we can have the opportunity to change the rules, because we are our own creator. And many of those that have been subject to, let's say, the last 30 or 40 years of brainwashing, manipulation, abuse of any description, are beginning to see through the veils of illusion and beginning to see where their inner strengths lie. And they're going through this awakening, this ascension process, which is in effect the self-mastery of divine masculine and divine feminine. I, for one, have carried the feminine energies for most of my life. And when I have had those moments of balance, those moments of balance become brilliant. And those moments of brilliance create incredible magic and incredible energies. So the reality for us is to achieve this balance within ourselves, primarily, our mind, body and soul. And this is also a game between the heart and the ego, and all of those other aspects of us that no longer serve us. And we are the key, and we are the answer, we are the solution. And guides like myself can only guide you along your path, can only give you inside information on what to do and how to do it. We can't do the work for you. And it does require work. It requires a tremendous amount of work and self-discipline. And in most cases, it requires isolation. It requires isolation from the outside world, from everything that we know or believe to be true, so that we get to this inner depth, this inner core of who we are. And as we progress along this ascension path, we're going to a higher level in consciousness. We're also taken to a lower level in reality. And the simplest way for me to explain this is there's a cloud above us all, and there's the earth beneath us. And many people today are very much in the cloud and lost all grips with reality of what's down in 3D. The skill is in merging those two together and creating a bridge between those two realities, between those two dimensions, so that this creates balance. A major aspect of our lives has been through the psychological programming, reprogramming. And as I've written in my book, our programming begins the day that we are born. This is the day that we're identified, we are labeled, we're given this specific path on life that's given to us. So therefore we're never free. The only way we can claim freedom is by taking it ourselves and disassociating and detaching ourselves from everything that we ever believe. And the truth is our own truth. Whatever we've experienced, enjoyed, felt, seen, witnessed, and encountered, that's truth. And that's our truth. Everything else is subjective, everything else is an opinion, or propaganda. And propaganda plays a big role in today's society in pushing us and driving us in ways that completely baffle our brains, and we're following this program. So the ascension process allows us to look at both aspects of our mind, because scientists say that we only use between 5 and 10% of our brain power. As we awaken and we start to clear all the crap out of our body, we are opening the network to our brain power. And when we look at things like natural medicines and old ancient practices such as shamanism, ayahuasca, for example, these open new paradigms to us, and these allow us to touch the spirit world, to enable us to connect with our true higher consciousness and our God or Goddess energy that has been guiding us on our journey. And we begin to see a different perspective of everything. And as we are ascending, we're rising above, and our view on life is completely different. It's a completely clear perspective. When we're channeling or sitting up in the higher dimensions, we're able to see things clearer, more visually. We have a bigger sense. We have a bigger sense of what's happening. And this is what agitates the outside world, because we don't fit in. The reality is we do fit in. We are able to balance this masculine and feminine within us to achieve this harmony, this yin-yang balance. And as I teach my students in this balance, the yin-yang symbol is the perfect halves. In the middle is this white path, or this white line, which is harmony, it's balance. And this requires self-mastery, the ability to recognize ego, to recognize triggers, and to make split-second decisions in our cognitive thoughts on how we're going to respond. Or are we going to react? And this is all self-mastery. The more we practice, the more we're triggered, the more we're aware of these things that are happening around us, the more we can re-educate our mind and reprogram our mind. And it really is that simple. It's about reprogramming what we've been taught and shown to be true, to really superimpose our own truth and our own inner energies and our inner desires and our inner thoughts. And many will say that this is a selfish attitude. Well, it is selfish. We're putting ourselves first, because if we're seeking balance outside of ourselves, we first need to be balanced within ourselves. Therefore, to achieve that balance, we go within ourselves and we build that new blueprint, that new environment, those new desires, the new creations that we are seeking to manifest within the world. When we are living in this balance, we have no fear. We have no fear of external events. We have no fear of what's going on around us, and we're able to touch these things and disassociate. It's okay to be aware of what's going on in the world from a news perspective. We can see the reality or the perceived reality, and we're not touched by it. We're aware. It's an awareness, and we can push away the negative connotations or the positive connotations. Living in balance, living in harmony begins with us. Begins with our masculine and feminine side. Begins with our masculinity and our femininity. And however we choose to do that is our choice. This is all contained within ourselves, within our DNA, within our mechanism. And as we are evolving, and we are evolving as a species, we're able to tap into the alchemical magic that we have, our own psychic abilities, our own abilities to see and feel how the collective is reacting and responding to what's going on around the world. And we're able to dispel and shatter those visions, those illusions that are being created by the mass markets. I've never felt so balanced in my whole life. I've never had this perspective in my whole life. I've always known that there's a bigger perspective. I've always known that there is a side of me that is yearning for completion. And having had a whole spate of circumstances in 2014 land on my doorstep, I had no choice. I did have a choice. I could have jumped off a bridge and ended my life, or I chose the path of reaching this place of harmony within. And yes, I had guides. I had real guides and real essential tools given to me so that I was able to reach this plateau of equality, of balance, of a clear perception of what I had experienced, what I needed to put to sleep, and what I needed to embrace, and what I carry with me today. Our past makes us who we are today, and we create the path in which we wish to evolve down. When we achieve that balance within the mind, the body, and the soul, we are one, we are complete, we are whole, and nothing outside of us is needed. We are whole. And when we reach that stage, we become so powerful, and this is not an egoistic terminology, this is we have become so powerful, we become so aware, we just form groups and we begin to create this magical moment of a shifting consciousness. Our higher consciousness are communicating at such high levels that we're able to attract and communicate and relate to other people that have this similar conscious thoughts. And it is that is lighting up the grid. And as the further and further we evolve and develop and learn these skills and this self-mastery, the more harmonious it becomes. And we are creating unity consciousness. Because unity is what is required to enable us to shift the whole perspective of the world and how it perceives it needs to live and survive. And we will do this. We will do this in our own lifetimes, and we are affecting and having this ripple effect outward. We may not see it, but we feel it. So, balancing the aspects of masculine and feminine within the mind is part of this process. If you seek guidance on how to do this, on how to achieve this, I'm here to help you and guide you. I can give you tools and tips on how to achieve this, but it requires work. It requires you to work. It's an investment in yourself, and it's better than an investment on the stock market, because what is the end result is a purified vessel, free of superfluous bullshit, balanced harmoniously in unity with one, with self. Thank you for listening. If you want to reach out to me, you can visit my website, askdino.com, and I'll be happy to reply and get back to you with some guidance. Thank you very much indeed, Destiny, for this opportunity. Namaste.